Your apology made it worse. Not a little, not temporarily. It completely destroyed what was still left between you. On Zeus, I've been watching men apologize for 5,000 years, and I'm going to tell you something nobody has the courage to say. When you apologized, she didn't feel relief. She felt disgust. That moment when you lowered your head and said, "I'm sorry," she saw weakness. She saw a man with no backbone. She saw someone she will never be able to respect. And without respect, there is no attraction. Without respect, there is no relationship. Without respect, there is only contempt. Most men think apologizing solves it. In reality, you just buried yourself. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment after the fight, you thought, "I'll be the mature guy here. I'll apologize first. I'll show I care." And you went there and apologized. Maybe even over-explained, justified, sent a long message, called 3 times. And you know what happened? Silence. Or even worse, she accepted the apology, but completely changed with you. You ended the argument, but you also ended any sexual tension that existed. Became safe. Became predictable. Became the guy she can control. I saw the same thing in the Roman Empire. Generals returning from victorious battles, but kneeling before the Senate, asking forgiveness for small failures. Their wives saw that and lost all respect. Not because the men made mistakes, but because they publicly humiliated themselves. Respect is not regained through submission. Attraction doesn't return with weakness disguised as maturity. Here's what you didn't understand yet. When you apologize without having done anything truly wrong, you are communicating one thing. I need your approval more than I need my own self-respect. And she heard that loud and clear. She may not have verbalized it, but her brain registered it. This man is weak. This man will always yield. This man I can manipulate. Now let me show you exactly why your apology was the worst mistake you made. You need to understand something fundamental about apologies between man and woman. They don't work the same way. They work between 2 men or between 2 women. When 2 men fight and one apologizes, it restores the hierarchy and the game continues. But when a man apologizes to a woman, especially for something small, or when he wasn't even completely wrong, something different happens in her brain. The female brain is not processing your apology as emotional maturity. It's processing it as a demonstration of relative value. She is unconsciously evaluating. He yielded first because he needs me more than I need him. And this value equation is fatal for attraction. You just signaled that she is the prize, and you are the desperate competitor. You thought you were being the evolved guy, the mature man who knows how to communicate and resolve conflicts. But she interpreted it as the guy who is so afraid of losing her that he will lower himself to keep the peace. And peace bought with submission is not peace. It's just you postponing the inevitable separation. Because now she knows she can do whatever she wants, and you will always come crawling back apologizing. You transformed your relationship into a mother-son dynamic. But here it gets even darker when you understand the psychological mechanism behind all this. Let me explain what happened neurologically when you apologized. First, you need to understand that female attraction is not a conscious choice. It's not something she decides to feel or not feel. It's an automatic response to specific signals of male value. One of these most primitive signals is what evolutionary psychologists call status congruence. Basically, her brain is constantly evaluating. Does this man behave like someone of high value or low value? High-value men don't apologize for small things because they know their own worth. They can acknowledge a real mistake, yes, but they don't keep apologizing for existing. When you apologized, especially if it was disproportionate to the error, You activated all the low-value alarms in her brain. And here's the part that will destroy you. She didn't choose to lose attraction for you. It happened automatically. Her limbic system, responsible for sexual attraction, simply shut off. You saw this, didn't you? That moment after the apology when she accepted, but the look changed. There was no longer that spark, that tension. There was just a kind of maternal disappointment. She went from attracted woman to disappointed mother with weak son. And this change, my friend, is irreversible in most cases. You know who else does this? Bosses who apologize excessively to subordinates. From that moment, the authority is over. The respect is over. You became the boss people can ignore. She's doing the same thing with you now. You became the boyfriend she can ignore. The man she can test as much as she wants, because she already knows you will always yield. And here's the final blow. Each subsequent apology exponentially worsens things. The first apology lowered your value 20%. The second, 40%. The third, 80%. Why? Because each one confirms the pattern. Oh, he really is that weak guy I thought he was. Each apology is another layer of cement in the grave of her respect for you. And you gave her the perfect weapon. Now, any future conflict, she knows exactly what to do. Act angry, stay silent, and wait for you to come crawling with another apology. You transformed conflict, that should be negotiation between equals, into hierarchy where she is superior and you are subordinate. Congratulations, you created the most anti-sexual dynamic possible. If you're seeing the pattern here and want to make sure you never make this mistake again, hit that like button right now, because I'm about to show you 3 real cases that will make you rethink everything. I see this everywhere. Guy fights with girlfriend over something small. She went out with friends and didn't communicate well. He got worried, called a few times. She came back angry. And what did he do? I'm sorry for calling you so much. I know you need your space. I trust you. I'm really sorry. She accepted the apology right away, but watch what happened in the following weeks. She started going out more without warning, started responding slower, started testing the limits more and more. Why? Because his apology communicated, I have no right to have expectations of you. And she heard that as, he doesn't have enough value to demand basic respect from me. 3 months later, she broke up, claiming she lost the passion. Can't explain it, but doesn't feel the same anymore. Of course, she doesn't feel it. He killed the attraction when he apologized for having standards. Or take this case here. Couple argues because she was rude to him in front of friends. Made a joke that humiliated him. Everyone laughed except him. On the way home, he says that hurt. She gets defensive. Says he's too sensitive. Can't take a joke. And what does he do? Apologizes for feeling hurt. Let me repeat that. He apologized for having legitimate feelings. He apologized for being disrespected. It's like cutting yourself and then apologizing for bleeding. And her? She lost any residual respect she had. Because now she knows she can humiliate him publicly, and he will apologize for feeling humiliated. It's the perfect relationship for a narcissist. Roman gladiators had more backbone than these modern guys with their pathetic apologies. Here's the worst of all. The guy who apologizes preventively. Before any conflict, he's already managing her mood. Sorry if I bothered you. Sorry if I said something wrong. Sorry for existing, basically. This guy transformed apology into the base language of his communication. And her? She's living with a doormat. A man she can't respect even if she forces herself. Eventually, she will cheat or break up. Or worse still, will stay with him for convenience while completely losing any physical attraction. You will become the guy who pays the bills, but she never touches. You're seeing yourself in some of these cases, aren't you? Maybe not exactly like this, but the pattern is familiar. That tightness in your chest, that shame of recognition, This is because you've already done this. You've already apologized when you shouldn't have and felt the immediate change in her behavior. Now you understand why it happened. And here's the truth that will free you or destroy you, depending on what you do with it. The pattern that connects all this. You were taught the most destructive lie of modern culture. Apologizing is always virtue, and never apologizing is always toxic. This is false, dangerously false. Apologizing when you are genuinely wrong and caused real harm, that's maturity. Apologizing to avoid conflict or to maintain false peace, that's weakness disguised as virtue. And women detect the difference instantly. Her brain evolved for 200,000 years to distinguish man with real strength from man faking strength through submission. When you apologize for small things, or when you're not even wrong, you are communicating. I'm not sure of my own value, so I will lower myself to keep you. And that is the most unattractive communication possible. Because women don't want men who lower themselves. They want men who stand firm even under pressure. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius never apologized for doing what he thought was right, even when everyone disagreed with him. He could acknowledge factual error, yes, but never apologized for having standards, for having boundaries, for being who he was. And this, ironically, made him more respectable, not less. But modern culture perverted this into always yield, always apologize, always place peace above your own dignity. And this created a generation of men who don't know the difference between humility and humiliation. Humility is acknowledging real error. Humiliation is apologizing for having value. And when you repeatedly humiliate yourself, you're not being mature. You're being cowardly. And she feels this. She knows the difference, even if she can't verbalize it. Her body reacts with disgust, not attraction. Because disgust is the correct evolutionary response to weakness, disguised as kindness. So what to do now? First, stop apologizing for small things. If you truly erred, caused real harm, acknowledge directly, without lowering yourself. But if she's angry because you had a boundary, because you said no, don't apologize. Let her be angry. It will pass. And if it doesn't pass, she wasn't for you anyway. Second, understand that healthy relationships have conflict. If you're always avoiding conflict through apologies, you don't have a relationship. You have hostage and kidnapper. Real women want a man who can disagree with her, who can stand firm, who can say, no, you're wrong about this, because that shows you have a backbone. Third, if you already made this mistake and she already lost respect, most likely there's no going back in that relationship. Female respect is like glass, breaks easily, rarely glues back together. Your best option? Learn the lesson for the next relationship. Stop being the guy who apologizes for existing. Be the guy who has non-negotiable standards. Look, I'm Zeus. I don't give motivational speeches. I show patterns. You saw the pattern. What you do with it is your choice. But understand this. Authenticity is not apologizing for who you are. It's having courage to be who you are, even when she doesn't like it. And ironically, that's what creates real attraction. So, what was the apology that destroyed your relationship? Comment below. Let's see how many men can admit it. And if you want to understand why when she stopped testing you, that's a sign you already lost. I'll dissect that next. It's the same pattern. Men confusing signals and destroying everything.